Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Frontline Network's Company of Heroes 2 World Championship. Last game, we saw Marcus and Aimstrong going at it, with Aimstrong putting in a fantastic performance as the Soviets on Kolodny Ferma Winter. He brought the pain to Marcus and he took him down 1-0 so far in this best-of-3 series on Kolodny Ferma battlefields. We are now going to be heading into the second game, and joining me is the Relic balance developer, the balance developer from Relic, Peter.
Hey guys, how's it going? Glad to be here.
It's super for you to join us, man. I really hope that we get to pick your brains a little bit over this game, analyze some of the strategies, get your opinion on it, because of course we met last weekend in Vancouver, and we got to grill you a little bit on the current issues of the day.
Yeah, no, it was really good having you guys in. I thought that was awesome. You guys had a lot of questions, and hopefully we're able to answer those.
Well, I'd say if we're both into this second game, we can, if we're both at the 5-second mark, we'll unpause in 3, 2, 1, unpause. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So, Peter, tell me, as a German strategy, what do you feel is most solid right now? As a rough German strategy, because that's the faction that people seem to be having the most trouble with right now.
Well, it seems that the best strategy is to kind of get a mix of Grens, mainly Grens, 1 or 2 MGs, and lead into your 251, typically getting a flamethrower upgrade if you have the munitions. And it looks like the 222 now to counter the M3 if you see that coming.
Okay, so a bit of sort of the use of the light vehicles with the Flammenwerfer, very powerful. We see a lot of players using that. The Scout Car, not seen so much, although we did see Marcus use it a couple of times there. Although both times it sort of got neutered by AT nades pretty quickly. It sort of hit the field and then was used to try and run down the sniper. It didn't work, and then it died. It had a very short lifespan.
Yeah, they're definitely tough to use. They're extremely fragile. You got to get in the right position, and there's a little bit of RNG there as well, especially if you're going against M3. I've seen a lot of people use a upgun 2-2-2 to counter the M3 with guards, and I feel like that's a really base battle sometimes.
Okay. So as Soviets, we've got an opening build order of just a single engineer, so no double engineer, fancy stuff, doing what most Soviet players do here. Marcus opening up with a couple of conscripts. Is that what you normally do? Just go straight into the conscripts?
Until the tournament, no. I used to always build the first building, pop out 2 conscripts. But during the tournament, yeah, that's pretty much what I did, and that's what I'm seeing most people do as well.
Okay, so you're going all in on the conscripts. And what's your opinion on Molotovs? Because we've seen Molotovs be used as quite a quick tech. A lot of players in the Vico mindset are very familiar with the idea of going for 3 rifles and then grenades. That was one of the most popular build orders back in Vico, and then you pull off a single flank as soon as those Molotovs hit, and you had those 3 conscripts all coming in at once. You just got the Molotovs, Molotovs go flying, grenades go flying, and it was a great strategy. What do you think about Molotovs?
I think they're pretty cost effective. I think even if you're not hitting your opponent with it, a lot of times you're denying cover, and
right.
there's intrinsic value to that a lot of people are taking advantage of.
Right, and that was virtually word for word what a lot of the justification was given for using 3 rifles grenades in the old game as well, even because in tournament play, obviously most people would be able to dodge the grenades. They wouldn't actually kill anything, but you would force the unit to move, and that then allows you to take the cover. So, you've got an advantage there already.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've got Aimstrong. He has gone as a Wehrmacht build. I didn't see exactly what he built first, but he's now got himself 2 Grenadiers and a single MG. He's now following that up with a second MG. So far it's a 4-unit tier 1 with just a single Pioneer. No double Pioneer, fancy stuff. He has quite a small chunk of the map, but would you say that's an okay position for an Ostier player to be in?
You know what, Tommy? I'm going to have to turn my sound down in the game, so that means I got to pause it because it's really hard to hear you.
No problem.
Can we pause at the same time? See if we can do
let's
that?
go at 3:30. At 3 minutes and 30 seconds if we both pause there. And I'll give you a few seconds.
Yeah, sorry guys, just setting up this machine. Was in another room and Alright, let me know when you're ready.
Alright, so at 3:30 we'll unpause in 3, 2, 1, unpause. 31, 32, 33.
All right, perfect. We're on track. Okay, sorry, it was really hard to focus on your question. I was like, I can't hear anything. Okay, so what was the question you were asking again?
So Aimstrong doesn't really have very much of the map right now. He's sort of crushed into just a couple of sectors. Would you say that's an okay position for him to be in? Does this map balance, you know, with the Soviets holding the majority of the territory? Is that sort of a comfortable position to be in, would you say?
Yeah, I think it's fairly comfortable. I find that as Germans, you don't have as much map control early on. You're not getting as many units out of the field, especially with the start that Marcus had versus, how do you say his name? Armstrong?
Aimstrong.
Yeah,
Aimstrong.
Aimstrong. So typically what it comes down to is containment of areas and just trying to push area by area as Germans. So, no, I think he's in a fine position right now.
He's actually gone for a sneaky little cutoff move there. We've got the whole bottom sector of the map is now flashing after Aimstrong took that cutoff point. Marcus is now coming back with a conscript to try and take it. But it's an interesting way to play the Germans so far, because most conventional school of thought suggests keep all your infantry around together, you know, keep everything fairly tightly bunched as the Germans in the early game, and that was still true for the old game. But instead, Aimstrong is sort of everywhere.
You can do that because I find like a Grenadier and an MG work really well as a team, and that gives you a lot of synergy. But you got to be careful, right? If Soviet decides to pick their battles and really outnumber you, 2, 3, 1, you're going to start to suffer because of that. So it's a risky strategy.
It does seem to be kind of paying off for him, though. I mean, he hasn't taken that many losses, and actually we have a very interesting build order from Aimstrong. He has gone for a massive 6-unit Tier 1. He's gone for 4 Grenadiers and 2 MGs. What do you make of such a big Tier 1?
I think he's thinking that the M3 is going to come, and I feel like having the abundance of those units gives you a better chance to kind of fight them off between the FOSS and the MG fire and the Grenadier rifle fire. I think it's a fairly strong early build. I think he'll do well.
He's opted to go for some LMGs, some early light machine guns on his Grenadiers, so those guys are going to get just that little bit tougher. I can hear the M3 has now hit the field, so now it's time. Now it's the real crunch time for Aimstrong, because this is the point at which the house of cards tend to fall. This is when most Ostier players tend to start to panic. Their Grenadiers get isolated, as we see here. Marcus doing a good job with this M3. He's found himself a lone Grenadier squad, and he's hunting it down with the flamethrowers.
Yeah, for sure. See, I don't know if that was a good move using that FOSS right there, just because he didn't have anything to finish it off. There's engineer in there.
And he loses the squad as well for it. So.
Yeah, and you lose the squad, right? I feel like you got to really time those FOSS and make sure that you got something to finish it off. But I mean, he is moving this force up, so we'll see what's happening.
He might, if he can finish that off, maybe it'll make the loss of that Grenadier worth it. I don't know. He's still taking.
It's usually not worth it.
You wouldn't say it's worth it to lose a Grenadier to kill the M3?
Well, think about it. He lost a 240 manpower unit, and Aimstrong is now losing an 80 manpower, 20 fuel unit. So even if he took that loss, the amount of damage he's inflicted, I think it's worth it. Well worth it. A little bit of an opportunity cost. He has less fuel, so he might not be able to tech as fast. But ideally, you'll be able to get enough map control to make up for that.
Okay, interesting.
What I think is interesting, actually, though, is that Marcus has decided to forego the bottom of the map and actually go on the top of the map. And I think that's because that one cutoff in the center that would cut him off from the bottom is a lot harder to defend than the top. The cutoff right beside his north adjacent to his base. So I think that's a very interesting strat right there.
Yeah, he is focusing down sort of on this bottom sectors, and so far has been sort of relatively unmolested. He's kept Aimstrong relatively well contained into his top half. But of course, in that top half, there is 2 VPs, so the VP pressure is leaning. Actually, the VPs are almost they are neck and neck right now, 455 and 455. Yeah. So it's a very even opening. Although we did actually see a Pioneer go down. I didn't see where it went down, but a Pioneer did die. So Aimstrong, even though he's tech tier 2, he isn't able to build it just yet. Yeah, so earlier I actually meant Aimstrong is taking focusing on the top, not Marcus. But yeah, he's doing pretty good. So here's another M3. And he's put guards in it. So we got the old Marcus car out with guards, those AT rifles inside the half track. It looks like he's preparing to face the Flammenwerfer, but he's not actually going to find anything to really kill with it. There is no Flammenwerfer. It's not even a tier 2. I think that's a bad move. He should have waited to see those. Keep them close together. Waited for the 251. Kept a flamethrower or even a sniper if he had one. That would have been a better... He does actually have a sniper, I believe. Yeah, he's got a sniper there in the middle. Might be trying to replicate the kind of successes that Aimstrong had last game with his 30 kill plus sniper. We're actually going to see another Faust here. Goes around the corner and takes it out. That's a nice win there for Aimstrong to kill a second M3, and neither M3 has really done very much for him. So I gotta say, so far, Aimstrong, he's on the ball, and he's taking out these M3s very well.
Big difference here right now. When Aimstrong uses M3s, he used combined arms. He didn't just have M3 going by itself. Marcus using the M3 right there. He is just trying to push by itself, no support. You get some conscripts backing those up, you have a lot, far more significant threat than if you just got it by itself.
Right. Now, during the Blizzard, this is one thing that sort of, I don't know, a lot of the community hasn't really worked out tactics to really exploit Blizzards yet. But we can see Aimstrong is actually garrisoning buildings all over the shop. How do you approach games when there is a Blizzard? Do you do anything differently, or do you just do things more slowly?
Typically, I do things a little more cautiously. I know that the enemy has a lot less sight, and garrisoning houses actually, mitigates the fact that it takes away the penalty of the blizzard, so you actually get full sight when you garrison. So it looks like that's what Aimstrong's doing. He's taking advantage of the fact that he's gonna have full sight and that his opponent won't. He's in the buildings and they aren't.
Okay, so you'd say it's so you would sort of subscribe to his way of thinking, which is the slow and steady garrison the buildings and wait it out kind of thing.
Yeah, because knowledge is power, and in this case, having that extra sight, being able to see those attacks coming, you prepare for it, and you try to punish as much as you can in that time.
So we've got some guards here. They took the cutoff here from Aimstrong, but Aimstrong actually, he has now both fuels. He hasn't connected the bottom fuel, but he does have actually both fuels. Marcus is the one now suffering a little bit in terms of map control, but he does still have his sniper, now up to 9 kills, still plugging away, and meanwhile Aimstrong is still in tier 1, hasn't yet teched up any higher than tier 1, although he's teched for his tier 3, so he could start building that tier 3 building, but he hasn't yet begun construction, and we are getting into the 10.5 minute mark, so he might want to start teching pretty soon if he wants to have a chance against whatever Marcus decides to bring out next.
Right. Marcus still hasn't built his second building yet, so maybe he's holding out for some call-in armor.
Do you know what doctrine Marcus has gone for?
Yeah, he's gone the same one that Aimstrong went last game. It's the one with the guards, the 120 mil.
Right, and the double
target.
Call-in of T-34s. Okay,
yep.
So it looks like Marcus and Aimstrong's Soviet strategies are very similar. Although, this sniper now is getting in all alone into this church. I don't know how well he's going to be. Yeah,
I think it's gone.
That's got to be a dead sniper right there.
I don't know. He could micro it out. Oh,
he's sprinting away. Very fancy. Very fancy.
Through the heavy snow, though.
Wow, if he gets away.
No. Here it comes. Here it comes.
Is he? Oh no. Oh, well, he's in cloak. No. He went down. Oh no. That could have been so nice if he had made it back all the way through enemy lines. That would have been brilliant.
Yeah, it would have been pretty good on his part.
But no, instead Aimstrong cuts down yet another unit from Marcus and is now expanding across the map, sort of sweeping across here, capping a lot of territory at once. Still got 4 grenadiers, so even though he lost one, he did rebuild one. So it seems like 4 grenadiers is the magic number for Aimstrong, and he is actually teched to tier 3, and he's got a Panzer IV on the way. It's 50% done. Yeah,
not to mention he got vet, and that's a key factor right now. Whereas Marcus is very low on vet. In fact, I think he only has one of his original conscripts left.
Oh, that's not good. We've actually got some cutoff moves here from Aimstrong. He's taking this left-hand side cutoff very aggressively with the Grenadier squad here. Marcus, the only connected territory he has is this string of strategic points leading up to the north here. Aimstrong is really encroaching on his base. There's a new sniper out now, and there's a tier 4 building, so he could start building Su-85s to try and counter this P4, but the P4 is definitely going to arrive before any counter does.
Yeah, for sure.
So what do you make of the tier 3 and his choice to go P4 first? I mean, you would maybe think in this scenario maybe an Oswin might work better because he's facing a mainly infantry-based army.
I think that the risk with the Oswin in a 1v1 like this is if he decides to go, let's say, T-34 or even the 85, the Oswin really has no capability to engage in that counter. Whereas with the P4, he got a little bit of mix of AI and AT, so he's more flexible. And I think that at this point, Aimstrong just doesn't want to take any risks.
Well, of course, I mean, this is a tournament game, this is a semi-final game, and it is a $1,000 cash prize, so it's understandable wanting to play this one cautiously. So the P4 is now on the field. We do have a first 18 aid and a first... Oh my god, what a squish right there! The entire conscript squad crushed underneath the treads of that P4. Oh lord.
Yeah. That was very risky, but I guess he should have an engineer to follow up pretty soon.
He
there it is.
does
It's
have,
coming in right now.
yeah, he's got a Pioneer coming to repair it, and he's actually choosing to build himself yet another Grenadier. He's building a 5th Grenadier. I mean, we've seen a couple of Grenadier spam strategies, and I mean, I would call spam anything more than 3, really. And they've sort of come up with mixed effects. Some of them have worked out really well, some of them have been totally owned by the Scout Car Flamer combo. I mean, in your games, have you ever tried sort of experimenting with loads of Grenadiers, like 5 Gren openings?
Yeah, Brad, one of the other balance designers, he's pretty good with his Grenadiers. Usually gets 4 or 5 out, and to good effect. I mean, they're all getting vetted up. But then again, I think that as you know, within our games, probably get a little less M3s going out, so that might be part of it.
I see,
with M3s, counters that are pretty good. So one thing interesting with the guard rifles is that PTRS actually has a good. It almost stuns the guys when they hit, which is interesting.
Ah, so will that cause guys to hit the ground around it?
Well, it causes a reaction behavior, and that reaction behavior gives you an opportunity to essentially slow that squad down. You see it a lot with the flamethrower, for example. You kind of get that
scatter effect. Yeah.
So I've noticed a lot of times at PTRS, it gets a killing blow because it keep that squad there for another couple seconds with those PTRSs.
Yeah, and then
so
you got
AI value
DPs as well to follow up. So it's a good combination. We had some mines going down there from Marcus. He laid one of those all-purpose TM35 mines.
Yeah, he's definitely going to need some mines at this point. He needs to control the mobility of Aimstrong, or he's just going to suffer.
Yeah, Aimstrong is sort of everywhere at the moment. Marcus gone for a slightly interesting build. He's gone for a 2nd sniper. He still has no real counter to this P4, besides 18 aids.
Yeah, what's his fuel? No, he's producing an 85 right now.
He's producing an 85. Okay, well, he's soon going to be going up against 2 P4s. We have a 2nd P4 on the way. I don't know. I guess the SU-85, if kited very well with 18 aids and guard support, could probably beat out 2 P4s. But even so, going 2 tanks against 1, just in general, is not great odds.
No, it's not. He's going to have to rely on combined arms. But, you know, I would never underestimate a good SU-85. I think it can beat those 2 P4s, especially if you can get AT grenades on them.
Right. The enemy is taking our territory. Such a huge
Yeah, that 20 range
build.
is huge on that unit.
Yeah, I mean, well, we've seen a lot of SU so far in the tournament. We've seen actually, I'd say we've seen a roughly even split, with half of the players going for Tier 3 and T-34s as soon as possible. T-34s and also those T-70s, which are really brutal. I mean, have you seen those things where they've got crush and they snipe infantry and they can penetrate P4s? I mean, they were really ripping stuff up yesterday. We had some like 30 kill T-70s.
Yeah, they're great for harassment. And I think you know, they add a lot of value to that 3rd building. And on a map like this, you know, you can get in there, pick out that capping Grenadier squad and get out, and that's super effective. And if you can manage that with your T-34s for the AT, I think you have a really strong combination there. I find sometimes going that 4th building, like his 85, it's not going to provide much value unless he can engage that P4. And with a player like Aimstrong, I don't think he's going to let that happen.
No, I don't think so either. He's not gonna feed his P4s up to get killed, and you know he's gonna keep them away. As long as there's only a single SU-85 and he's got 2 P4s, he can always be somewhere where the SU-85 is not. So he shouldn't have too much of a hard time keeping the bleed on Marcus, keeping those guards falling, and actually we saw guards dropping one of their PTRS rifles, so they're going to become significantly less useful at an anti-vehicle role.
Yeah, for sure.
Those guards seem to have a habit of dropping things. They're always dropping those PTRS.
Yeah, they have so many slot items, especially if you get the DPs. They got 4 slots, so each has the same probability of dropping. It just statistically leads to a high probability per entity death.
Yeah, because normally when we see, you see guards go down to 4 men or whatever, by that point they've already chucked away one of their DPs or something. Whoa, nice little cute move there from Aimstrong. He popped up a rifle.
Here comes the P4s.
Oh boy.
Here it is. And he gets no support whatsoever. And he can't back up. Yeah, this engagement's pretty much decided.
As SU-85 is not in a good spot. Oh, he's even turning away. Oh no, Aimstrong finds him. He's up in his rear. This is not looking good now for Marcus. Is he gonna get 2-0'd now?
You know, if I was Marcus, I would have popped the mark target on one of those guys and just at least try to take one out.
Oh yeah, the mark target ability, of course. Well, he is going to button one of them. Maybe that will give him the chance to get his SU-85 out of the way. He's actually going to turn it around. He's got another fresh guard squad. Yeah, it's a big beast, that 85. I mean, it's not the most nimble thing in the field, but it is still powerful when it's firing. There we go, a couple of nice hits there.
Oh, that's a gunner. Too bad it wasn't an engine. I'm lucky for him.
Yeah, engine damage there would have been.
Oh, those snipers, those two snipers up top just died.
Oh no, really? What's the P4?
Yeah.
I can see one guy in the snow there. He's been left for dead. There's just pioneers everywhere. They're just going to repair the damaged engine criticals, and these conscripts, they're going to get forced to retreat as well.
Yeah, this doesn't look very good for Marcus at this point.
He isn't even able to get that cap on the fuel there. I mean, Aimstrong is in such a dominating position right now. He has literally put Marcus into his base. Nothing else is connected. He's having to throw guards at P4s, which is never going to work. I think, who is it? I think Sarge, our other guest caster, likened it yesterday to throwing rangers at a P4 IST in Vico.
Yeah, pretty much. Even if you get behind, I mean, you're doing 40 damage per shot. But if he can use that 85 to scout out, I mean, you can do some damage.
Oh, nice use of Blitzkrieg there. Get the P4 out of the way, but you might still lose this one.
No, I think you're gonna get it.
He might still lose it. There we go. But oh, the SU-85's in danger now. That's another Blitzkrieg.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, it's a nice use of Blitzkrieg there, getting around, avoiding the turret. There we go. 85 is down. There's another P4 yet to replace the one that went down, so there's still two P4s on the field. I think this is lights out for Marcus now.
He's got a 76 coming out. It's not going to give him much at this point. I think that's
an SU-76. Oh no, that's not going to give him anything. What's that going to do to P4s? It's going to tickle them.
Well, you know, it doesn't do too bad. It has a high rate of fire, but 2 shots, and it's pretty much a guaranteed penetration for that P4.
And he's just bleeding manpower all over the place. What a fantastic performance by Aimstrong in both of his games.
Yeah, I think the real defining point for Aimstrong was he's using a lot of combined arm tactics, and that really let him punish, and that really let him stay on top.
Yeah, it feels like Marcus was really leaning on that initial scout car to do the damage, and it did initially do the damage. You know, it got that Grenadier kill, but then it wasn't able to escape. There was a lot of Grenadier follow-up, and, you know, from that point on, that initial Grenadier was left alone to die, but after that point, Aimstrong was ready. He never left his Grenadiers alone. He never left his MGs alone. They were always there, ready and waiting.
Yeah, and I think that was the key to his success. He just didn't let Marcus take any opportunity on.
And there we go.
That's
the 76 down.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much a game. It looks like we're almost at 1,100 viewers. This is
1,100 viewers, brilliant.
Impressive. Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. Well, that is actually 2-0 right there. That is the paving the way now for Aimstrong to head into the finals now. Aimstrong is through to the finals. He can taste that $1,000 cash prize. I mean, there's a second prize of $200, which is not to be sniffed at, but he can taste that $1,000 now. After a 2-0 victory after Marcus, he's got to be sailing. He's going to be high on the euphoria of that victory, and honestly, I cannot blame him.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see who he goes up against and to see what happens. I think the tactics are going to be definitely worthwhile watching.
I'm going to be really excited to see the kind of tactics that we see in our best of 5 finals. But before we go to the finals, we're not done with the semis yet, because while these two players were playing, there was another set of semi-finalists. There was Symbiosis and Sepher, the two grudge match players. They've fought in previous tournaments before. They've locked horns many a time in Vico, and now they are going up against each other in the TFN World Championships in the semi-finals. Only one of them will have a chance to go through to the finals, and that player will face Aimstrong for the chance to win $1,000. Don't go anywhere, folks. We're going to be right back.